Hi, Shawna Karrasch here with another Ask Shawna answer. This question comes from Gwen, and she says, I would like to know how to help my horse be more relaxed and comfortable in new places. He lives on a very quiet ranch, and everything is the same each day. We are alone in the riding arena most days. I can walk him off the ranch down roads and trails, but he's very alert and nervous. I'm not in the saddle when we do this. We have a very close relationship, and he is a jewel on the ranch, but off the ranch, he is a different horse. Any ideas I would be so grateful for. I want his trust and for him to feel safe. Thanks so much. Okay, Gwen, I think that's just, he has an idyllic situation, but I think it's really smart of you to realize sometimes he's going to have to be able to deal with things, and it'd be nice to go trail riding for him, and it'll do a lot for his security. At this point, a lot of times I feel like they kind of, if they don't like new things and they're afraid of new things, it is kind of an insecurity thing. They don't have the confidence that they should have. So what I really suggest you do, one thing that I like to do, I like to not have things be the same day after day after day as much as I can. So I like to introduce new things, change things up, ride in a little different area, maybe. And at first you got to start little. So it doesn't mean, if you ride in one arena all the time, maybe you ride kind of in the courtyard between the arena and the barn, whatever your setup is, or you ride in a paddock that he's familiar with, or change it up a little bit so it helps him to be more confident about new things and new places. But start small. If you just go too big, you're going to get that nervous horse that you don't feel like you really know or have a bond with. So you want to start small and build up those things so you build up his confidence. So that's one thing I would do, is just mix up things as much as you can at the barn. Also, I have a DVD set. It's like a 6 DVD set. It's like hours of desensitization work. It's just de-spooking your horse, and it's building boldness and confidence. And you know what I think it's like? Those team building exercises that corporate people go to, or that's what it's like, because it helps build up the confidence of both of you. He learns to trust you, you learn to trust him, you realize what you're going to do, and you get bolder and stronger addressing these things together. But you can do simple things. That's chock full of ideas. One of the things, and this is a great example, it can just be little things. A gal had read my book, and this was years ago. So she had read my book, and she had a horse, and it was a mare who was very, very spooky. But she loved this mare, and she'd had it for years and years and years, and there's no way she was getting rid of her. But this little Arab mare would get spooked every spring. So they go out for a trail ride, and she would get spooked, and the gal would end up getting hurt. So she'd had broken collarbones, broken ribs, broken wrist. She would just got hurt all the time with this horse and her spooking. And it was nothing, intentionally to be mean, but she was just fearful, and she didn't have the confidence going out there. So she read my book, and she decided to do, and they're not even really laid out too extensively in there, but she got the idea, had the basics down, and she went and did some basic exercises of desensitization. And so it was little things like putting a chair in the barn aisle, or next to the paddock, or wherever your area might be. So changing a little thing within their comfort of their own home and their comfortable environment. That's a lot of times a big thing for a horse. So make it a little change. Then the next day, and what we do, and then the next day would be something a little bit bigger or something different. And so building and building and building. So the next day, maybe it's just a chair there one day, and then the next day maybe the chair's on the other side. Then the other day, maybe there's a chair with a jacket on it, and then it's a bucket, and then it's a chair upside down, and then it's just different things that you can put there that will change and be different. Now the exercise would be to first just walk by the object. Now as you see, you're kind of looking at thinking, I don't know what that is. You always want to be looking for relaxation. Through everything I want you to be doing with your horse, utilizing the positive reinforcement, I recommend using looking for relaxation as being part of it. Now, at first, let's say she has a big reaction to this chair in her barn aisle, or her paddock, or wherever it might be. And so she has a big reaction. You might just kind of just keep walking by. Try as much as you can. You just keep level-headed, turn around and walk back by. And if the reaction is a little bit less, then I would click and reinforce. Or if it gets a little bit, but it softens just ever so slightly, click and reinforce that active relaxation. That is what you want to look forward to. And then I make another pass. And again, as you're coming up and you feel her relaxing or being better than before, click and reinforce. And so it's going to get better and better and better. And pretty soon you're going to walk by and she's not even going to care. Clicking and reinforcing when she's closest to the object. Because what you want her to learn is these new things, these weird things, actually end up being good, not bad. So it's pretty soon she sees new things and she thinks new things always end up good for me. I want to get near the new things. So she's going to build up a new reinforcement history with things that are strange, new, and unusual. Now, just like with those partridges with the gal, she couldn't plan for that precise event, but she did get, it's kind of a concept the horses learn. She did learn that new things, no matter what they are okay. And so when she saw something she didn't know, oh, I didn't even get to that part yet, did I? Okay, so she goes out on the trail with her horse, and she'd done these exercises in the barn, in her arena, through the winter time, because she lived up in the Northeast where it's pretty cold, and so she wasn't out on the trail then. Spring comes around, she gets on her horse, she has her clicker, and she has a waist pack with some food in it, and she heads out on the trail. Well, as she's out on the trail, all of a sudden, a partridge flies out of the brush. And her horse, instead of spinning and bolting, just splayed all 4 feet. And so she clicked and she said, that is so much better than you used to do. That is great. And she was tickled pink that that's all she did. And she splayed and kind of just got back to being herself. So she's reinforcing her, and that was great. And then the other partridge flew out of the pear tree. Not the pear tree, too close to Christmas, flew out of the brush. And so and all the horse did was turn and look at her. Like she knew, oh yeah, see that? Look. And she looked and turned for a reinforcement, and it was so much better. Now, she couldn't prepare precisely for those things that are going to come up, but the horse knew new and strange things are not so scary. So she learned to build her boldness and confidence at the little things at the barn and her indoor arena and places where she could be during the winter, and it carries over to the other situations. So the more you can do by doing those despooking exercises, the stronger it gets. You build a reinforcement history with new things, and pretty soon it is something that they get much more calm, and they learn to get more impulse control. You know, they learn to go, okay, it's okay. And they also did some studies when they were using positive reinforcement, how it actually, desensitization with the positive reinforcement actually brings the heart rate down. So instead of the heart going shooting right up, it doesn't. It helps them physically, physiologically, to keep more calm as well. So anyway, so I hope that helps you out, Gwen. So if you have more questions, please don't hesitate to ask. But I think if you start doing those things, you're going to start seeing some changes in your horse that you'll be pretty impressed with. But remember, the thing is to go slow. And also another point I want to make, I try to, and then like let's say I have an object outside the barn. Instead of walking in a barn aisle back and forth, you can do a big circle. And as they're closest to the circle is when you'd click and reinforce. And closest to the circle, and make that, you want to start at the point where, let's say at 15 feet, it's no big deal. But at 14 feet, it starts to be a bit of a worry. Then what I would do is recognize this is the point. This is the threshold where things change. And so you want to work at a point where it's not over the top scared. It's just kind of like, ooh, like maybe her head raises just a little bit. So that means that's the point you want to stay at. So make those circles, and you start to see her being relaxed on that circle. That's when you want to click and reinforce. Walking towards or standing closest to, where the closest part of your circle would be, towards the object. But one of the things I don't reinforce them for walking away. Unless all of a sudden, that some horses will develop a thing where they want to scoot away. But if you're going slow enough and she's getting comfortable with it, she will probably walk away nice and calm. And the walking away itself is actually the reinforcer there. So you want your reinforcements to come as she's approaching, getting nearer or closer to the objects. So you can, if you're riding, you can do that where you make a big circle, start far away, and put something out there and get closer and closer. And then just by taking those little walks too, you know, you can, as you start to see, if you go on the walks, you just want to hand walk her out there, and you feel like, or him, and is it him? Yes. Anyway, so he goes, as he's going out, and if he feels kind of nervous and he's looking around, but you see some point where he kind of settles a little bit and seems to soften a little bit, that's when you want to click and reinforce. So you can even do it with your hand walks, looking for the slightest thing. And when he's good and he's kind of done well, then you can turn around, take him back, say that's all you had to do for today. If you keep going more and more and more, it just can keep building and building and building. But if it gives you a little bit of boldness and musters up his courage, you can say, good, that's all you had to do, and you take him away, and that serves as a reinforcement too. Anyway, so I hope that helped you out, Gwen. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to ask. Anyway, I'm Shawna Karrasch, and this is Ask Shawna. You can go to shawnakarrasch.com or askshawna.com if anybody has more questions regarding their horse's training or positive reinforcement. Anyway, till next time, enjoy getting your horse on target. Bye.